Coming live from the 215, this is your boy ROCKIN REESE, bringing you another edition of WCC Ring Rockers, the show where the rockin' wrestling talk never stop. And we got a crazy show to get today because we're midway through the month of May, and we're fixing to bring a little bit of mayhem. But before we do that, I want to say hey to the WCC Nation, Ring Rock Nation. How's everybody doing out there tonight? We're doing good. Oh, good. Good. We got my man Doug Barrett on the phone line as well. And also I have a special guest, Mr. Ron Fargo, who I'm going to introduce in just a brief moment. But first, we're going to take you to the WCC Event Center. We got three big events coming for you guys this weekend. And they're all going to take place on Saturday, May 18th. All right, first event I want to talk about is from Tennessee Independent Wrestling Federation. It is their Fan Appreciation Night. It'll take place at the TIWF Showplex Arena, 403 West 1st Street in Trenton, Tennessee, 38382. Bell time for this event is 7:30, and guess what, folks? This event, it's F-R-E-E, free. Don't worry about bringing the money. Well, you may have to bring a little something, but yeah, it's general free admission for everybody. We got three big matches to talk about, as the TIWF Heavyweight Champion J.D. Wolf will team with the Tag Team Champions, the Posse, in six-man tag team action to take on Coco Anderson and the Solution. In singles action, the UIWA Heavyweight Champion Chief Atakolokola will go one-on-one with Steven Rampage in non-title action. And in tag team action, Skyler and Jay Rage will team up to go against T-Pain and David Andrews. To learn more about the Tennessee Independent Wrestling Federation, you can hit them up at TIWF.org or check them out on Twitter at TIWF Wrestling. Remember, that's Tennessee Independent Wrestling Federation's Fan Appreciation Night, Saturday, May 18th from the Showplex Arena, 403 West 1st Street, Trenton, Tennessee, 38382. Also, we have Peach State Wrestling Alliance coming to the Mount Zion Recreation Gym, 4485 Mount Zion Road in Mount Zion, Georgia, 30150. Doors open at 6:30. Bell time is 7:30. For ticket information, call 770-328-1162, or you can call 770-328-2251. And you can also go to the Mount Zion Dollar General anytime between 9:30 and 5:30 to pick up tickets for their event. In the main event, Total Protection, Mr. Hughes, that's right, the former Roughneck from ECW, the Bodyguard in WCW and the WWE, will go one-on-one with the original Chosen One, Rick Michaels. In ladies' action, David Mills' $1 Million Baby, Brandy Scotch Baker, will go one-on-one with Blondezilla, Tara Lynn. And for the PWA Tag Team titles, the Exotic Ones will defend against the team of Action Mike Jackson and the Wild Child Joey Kidman. Also, there will be a triple threat between Zach Daniels, Nigel Sherrod, and Romeo Vazarian, the International French Superstar. Also on the card, PWA Heritage Champion Shane Knowles will be in action. Trevor Aon will be in action. Dusty McWilliams will be in action, and there will be news about PWA's 5-year anniversary show. To learn more about the PWA, check them out at PeachStateWrestlingAlliance.com. Remember, that's Peach State Wrestling Alliance coming to the Mount Zion Recreation Gym, 4485 Mount Zion Road in Mount Zion, Georgia, 30150. And finally, Southern Style Pro Wrestling presents Gold Rush from the SSPW Arena, 4484 Highway 411 North, Eaton, Georgia, 30724. Doors open at 7. Bell time is 8 p.m. Tickets for this event are $5 for For those of you that are 13 and older, for kids 12 and younger, you get in for free. And this match will feature a briefcase ladder match and an extreme ladder match where 8 men will be competing for championship gold and more. There will also be hardcore street fights and traditional matches as well. To learn more about SSPW, go to sites.google.com/site/Southern Style Pro Wrestling, or you can check them out on Twitter at SSPW Webmaster. Remember that Southern Style Pro Wrestling's Gold Rush, Saturday, May 18th from the SSPW Arena, 4484 Highway 411 North, Eaton, Georgia, 30724. And we got a really, really big event coming up on May the 24th. That's a week from this coming Friday. And to tell us about that, I would like to introduce the fabulous one himself. Oh, yeah, not Jackie, but give it up for my man, Mr. Ron Fargo.
How's it going, Reese? Hello?
Yes, we do. The audience is loving you, Ronnie. All right, Ronnie, can you tell us about your event for the 24th?
Okay. May is Military Appreciation Month. And what we are doing, we're a brand new wrestling company. This is our debut show. We're going to be in Corinth, Mississippi on the 24th, like you said, it was next Friday. And in honor of Military Appreciation Month, we're doing a benefit. Our very first show is going to be a benefit for the Wounded Warrior Project. The Wounded Warrior Project, for those of you who do not know what it is, let me put it to you this way. These guys and women and these people, our brothers and sisters, they go and they fight in a war, and they get half their bodies blowed off, and they come back a lot less an individual they were when they left. But they knew what they signed up for when they left. But the bad part about it is when they come back, they have some benefits that the government gives them to take care of them. But when the government when they've exhausted all the benefits that the government has to offer, that's it. They get no more help from us. Well, I say us, I mean the government. This is where the Wounded Warrior Project comes in. This is a nonprofit organization that extends a helping hand out to these guys and these women that come back that need support. They need medical attention. They might need prosthetics. They might need psychological counseling. Just whatever it is that these people and their families need that the government has stopped providing for them. This is what the Wounded Warrior Project does. And this benefit, it's an honor to present our first show as a benefit for these people, because these people are the ones that allow us to be able to sleep good at nighttime. And that's what our show is all about. Now, if you're interested in who's going to be here, we have some of the guys that I've worked with for many years, and there's going to be a couple of special guests, I hope, that was wrestling back before I ever broke into the business. I've been in the business going on 30 years now. So, and it's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of interesting matches with a lot of interesting people. I've wrestled the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, 4 times. Of course, he turned me every which way but loose. But it was still an honor to get in the ring with the NWA World Heavyweight Champion at the time. Too bad he wouldn't put the belt up, because then I would have beat him. You know how that goes. I would have beat him like a red-headed stepchild. But anyway, we have a lot of talent coming in that's really going to be putting their bodies on the line just like our soldiers do, to bring a show that people will enjoy seeing. You see this stuff on Monday night on the TV every night, and on Friday night, and you see TNA on Thursday nights. But that's all new stuff. We're old school. We get in there and we tear each other apart, or we try to. We don't have all of the power techniques and all the lights and the sound system, because once you come out to the ring with all of that, you got to work really, really, really hard to outdo just your entrance. But we have Tommy Wildfire Rich is coming in. I'm sure people remember him. He defeated Harley Race for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I don't exactly remember when. Been a while back.
Yeah, back I think 81, I believe.
I believe it was, yeah, somewhere in that area. That was before I broke into the business. I got in 86. We have one half of the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton. He's coming down, and he's going to be in a match against the Boogie Woogie Boy, the son of the handsome Jimmy Valiant, Gary Valiant. Gary is current holder of the NWA Southern Heavyweight title. Now, when we started the show, we had negotiations with the NWA to have Gary defend the Southern Heavyweight belt, and they finally agreed to do that. They wanted to keep it, inside the NWA roster, so to speak. They didn't want to stretch out and let somebody come in that had a good chance of beating Gary. And I had submitted 3 names. One was Coco Ware, and one was Donnie Bass. Anybody remember Donnie Bass? Do what?
I can't say I remember Donnie. We were too low.
Okay, well, Donnie was really, really big in this area. You can look him up on YouTube. Him and Dirty Rhodes were partners for a long time. They did the, the Fire, Flame, and Torch gimmick. They did the Assassins and the Medics and the Interns. Just about every mass gimmick you could think of in the Memphis area, it was Donnie and Dirty. And nobody knew it. It was a surprise. Everybody seen these 2 heavy guys come out wearing hoods, and they didn't have any idea that it was the same guys. In fact, none of us did until they lost their mask in a few matches. But Donnie suffered a stroke about 2 weeks ago. So we had to take Donnie off the card, and Ricky Morton graciously decided to step in, and we thought that Ricky would be wrestling against Gary Valiant for the Southern Heavyweight title. But last week, a little over a week ago actually, I got a call from the NWA office, and they said that since Donnie was not able to compete, that it would not be a championship match. So they pulled the championship part off of it. We still have Gary Valiant coming in, and he's still going to be facing Ricky Morton, but unfortunately, they won't let us have the championship match. And right after that, I found on my NCWA Facebook page a picture of Jimmy Hart and Gary Valiant together. And that kind of makes you start to wonder why all of a sudden the championship part of the match has been thrown out. Kind of wonder if Jimmy Hart had anything to do with that. Because Jimmy Hart knows Donnie Bass pretty well, and he also knows Ricky Morton pretty well. As many times as he's been on the receiving end of one of Ricky's drop kicks, he knows those guys. He knows those guys pretty well. So I'm kind of figuring that, maybe Jimmy Hart may have had something to do with us losing our championship match for the night. But even if he did or he didn't, it doesn't matter. We still have a card. We still have great talent coming in. We're still going to have a great show. One other thing I wanted to push, Men on a Mission. I'm sure everybody remembers Big Daddy V and Sir Mo.
Yeah, do.
Do what now? Well, Sir Mo has issued a challenge to anybody in the NCWA that wanted to face him. And that's where Wildfire Tommy Rich came in. He said, I've been in this business for 31, almost 40 years, and he said, I'm going to be the one to answer Sir Mo's challenge. And we booked the match. So Tommy Rich is going to be facing Sir Mo in a special challenge match that night. And the main event for the night, this is something that nobody else has right now. Like I said earlier, we're a brand new company. We don't have any champions. And we certainly don't have any world champions. Considering we don't wrestle nowhere outside the United States, it's not feasible, it's not logical for us to promote a world championship when You know, we're a local company. But we're pushing a tournament, and this tournament is going to stretch out over several months, and we're going to crown our very first NCAA United States heavyweight champion in just a matter of about 4 or 5 months down the road. I've got contracts signed from guys all over the country. I've got the Naturals, Chase Stevens. I've got Sabu. I've got former 5-time world heavyweight champion Adam Pearce is going to be making an appearance in here. The Universal Heartthrob, we've talked to him. No debt's been set yet for him to come in, but he has agreed that he would like to come in and participate in the tournament. It's just going to be a night of action that you just won't believe. And I want everybody in the world that hears this, that's in the area, to get on down to the National Guard Armory in Corinth, Mississippi. Get your tickets early because they're going fast. One thing I want to iterate about the tickets, we haven't been able to find anybody willing to set up and do advanced ticket sales for us. So if anybody wants tickets that lives outside the 38834 zip code, all they have to do is go to Facebook, go to my page, Ron Fargo, and inbox me your name and how many tickets you want, and I will put those tickets on will call at the door, and you can get those tickets at advanced price at the door.
Right, and that's National Championship, old school wrestling right there, NCAA, National Championship Wrestling Alliance, correct?
Wrestling Association, yes.
Oh, Wrestling Association, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's Friday, May 24th.
Friday, May 24th. Right. The bell time is 8 o'clock. The doors open at 7. Come down and meet your favorite stars. Bill Superstar Dundee has told me that he might be making an appearance down there. So if you like Bill, if you've been a fan of Bill's for a while, it'd be worth it to come down and meet Bill and get a picture from him. Bill has written a book, too. He'll have copies of his book. He'll have some DVDs of some of the greatest Memphis matches. I'm sure most of them are with him.
And
the point about
probably
that,
him and Lawler.
Him and Lawler, let me tell you something. Those two have had the greatest battles against each other and as partners that I have ever seen in Memphis. I don't know if anybody remembers back years and years ago, the Blonde Bombers, which was, let me think, Wayne Ferris and, the Moondog. What was his name?
Was it Rex or Fire, I think it was?
He passed on. He had a heart attack in the ring in Memphis several years ago, and I swear I can't call his name. But anyway, they had what we call the Tupelo concession stand brawl, and that's when Lawler and Dundee were partners at the time, and they went against Wayne Ferris and his partner. Oh, gosh, I wish I could remember the guy's name. Well, anyway.
Let's just call him Moondog for now until we get that. Yeah. But I was like, so Lawler and Honky actually did have a fight once in a blue moon, huh? Yeah.
Oh yes. They had, even though they're cousins, they had several matches, and that's the same with Brian Christopher. When Brian first came on the road, on the scene, of course, I helped train Brian, me and Snowman. I don't know if you remember Snowman or not. Big guy. He came in as the killer under Paul Dangerously at one time. He was under a mask, and then when he lost his mask, he was known as Snowman. But even Brian Christopher and Jerry Lawler had some matches. And believe me, you can challenge your father anytime you want to, but you're still going to lose that battle. And Jerry took him to the school. I tell you, Jerry showed Brian just exactly what he was made of. The old saying is, I taught you everything you know, but I didn't teach you everything I know.
Yeah. A lesson that we've all learned all too well when we try and go up against our parents at something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Matt, say there, Ron, I want to get things moving along, but I would appreciate it. Would you mind staying on the phone line as we go on with our topics for tonight?
Sure.
All right. All right. First, we're going to get into our ring rockin' royalty, and as I mentioned for our fans here, we got a birthday boy. We got a birthday boy in the wrestling community. I am proud to say that this man has been a big inspiration of mine. One of the first people I was inspired by in wrestling. I'm talking about my man, Mr. Ron Simmons, the All-American. Let me break it down for you, a little bio for him. Born today, May 15th. He was born in 1958, so he's celebrating his 55th birthday today. Big Ron, looking good. He was born in Perry, Georgia. As you know, he was a defensive nose guard down at the Florida State for the Seminoles between 1977 and 1980. He went to two Orange Bowls, lost to the Oklahoma Sooners both years in a row. Jim Ross, I know you're going to probably still rub that in Ron's face a little bit. But in 1979 and 1980, both years he became All-American, consensus All-American. He broke into the business in 1986, went to the NWA WCW promotion in 1989, started off unmasked, but then, he became a member of the tag team Doom with the Hacksaw Butch Reed, where they became the first African-American NWA World Tag Team Champions, defeating the Steiner Brothers in Capital Combat in May of 1990. He would then go on to become a United States Tag Team Champion with Matt Bourne, a.k.a. Big Josh. But most importantly, in August of 1992, he would become the first African-American WCW World Heavyweight Champion, defeating the Monster Vader. Then, after he left WCW in 1994, he would go on ECW for a brief spell and be on the indie scene before coming to the World Wrestling Federation in 1996 as Farouk. His greatest success would then be paired with Bradshaw. They were known as the APA Acolytes Protection Agency, where they would become three-time WWE Tag Team Champions. And, of course, Simmons, after retiring from wrestling, would then be inducted into the 2012 WWE Hall of Fame. And I should also mention, as far as college, he was inducted into the 2008 NCAA Hall of Fame as well with his work during the Seminoles. So that is the All-American Ron Simmons. Farouk, call him what you will, but call him the newest member of Ring Rockin' Royalty. Ron, and we want to wish you a happy birthday on behalf of everybody here in Wrestling Commentary Central. Congratulations, Ron, and keep up the good work, brother.
Happy birthday!
And if you want to know how to finish that off, I think there's only one word that could sum up Ron Simmons' whole career when you look back and think of the amazing things that this man's done.
You need to go to the ring. I need to focus, sir. I'm going to get this off my chest.
He was the most inspirational man in 1992. If you look back at it, there's only one way to say it.
No, Ron. Ron?
Damn is correct. As once again, congratulations, Big Ron, and happy birthday. Let's get into the Ring Rockin' Rumble now. And tonight, we are bringing mayhem. And like I said, this is an event, we're looking back at some of the biggest events in wrestling history that happened in the month of May. Now, when you think of the NWA World Heavyweight title, you think of Ric Flair, you think of Dusty Rhodes, you think of Harley Race. You may be surprised to know that there's a man by the name of Terry Boulder that surprisingly had a brief although unrecognized reign as the champion. Because let me break it down to you. May 25th, 1979, he actually pinned Harley Race, but the decision was overturned when it was discovered later that Hogan threw Race over the top rope, which, as you know, in the NWA was a disqualification. So let me take this to Ron. Can you believe that Terry Boulder, a.k.a. the Immortal Hulk Hogan, was actually, like I said, was nearly the NWA World Heavyweight Champion?
So you're talking to me?
Yes.
Yes, I can believe that. I met Terry once when he first got started. He come to Memphis out of Pensacola, Florida, I believe it was. He came in Jarrett Promotions as the Incredible Hulk. Had his chest hair shaved in the shape of a nuclear mushroom cloud. That was kind of odd thing to see because, most guys in the business don't, they mostly shave all the hair off their chest because, it's more hygienic that way. You don't get somebody's sweat dripping down in your face. You get enough of it as it is, but, it's just common courtesy in the wrestling business to kind of do away with something that, is just plain out that gross. It just grosses people out. But back to Terry, yes, I couldn't believe that he did not win the title and have a reign as champion, to be honest with you.
All right, let me take it down to my man, Mr. Douglas Barrett. Doug, how you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing good. I just wish we didn't have to bring up the name Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I wish we did, but yeah, let me ask you, did you know that Hogan almost became the NWA champion?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, because I had to admit, like, when I looked at this, I was like, wait a minute. Hogan actually, the NWA championship. Like, wow.
And I'm going to be honest, I'm sure some people will agree with me, some won't, but hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If Hogan would have won the NWA title, at least to me, that would have killed the business or hurt it a bit. Because I've gone on record saying I've never liked Hogan. I mean, granted, he's done great. He's done a lot of good stuff for the business. He made it popular at the right time. He used his name and image to make it big. I don't take that away from him. But it's his in-ring work to me where I'm kind of like, some of it's good and some of it's where I'd rather go do laundry.
Yeah, but considering, like I said, this was like way before he even set foot near McMahon, I kind of would be a little surprised because, you can still see, like, in NWA days, you could probably see a little bit more of the Hiro Matsuda training from in Hogan then than you probably would once he got up to New York.
Yeah, but I just wouldn't believe him beating one of my favorite champions of all times, Mr. Harley Race. I just can't see it unless I'm very drunk.
Well, you've got to stop and understand now. Hogan he could outmuscle Race any day of the week. Now, Race may have had a lot of ring technical experience over Hogan, but Hogan is the type of individual, as big as he was at that time, he could pick Race up. And, he threw him over the top rope. He could have picked Race up and threw him 15 feet across the floor, and then Race wouldn't have been able to answer the bell. But that wouldn't have won him the world title. Hogan's a big boy. You couldn't take that away from him.
All right, also going to throw in, take it down to Dallas, Texas, my man, Mr. Thursday Night himself, Big Red. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm good. What's going on?
Doing all right. So we're talking about biggest events in May history here. You hear what we're talking about now? Hulk Hogan, nearly the NWA World Champion?
Well, me, I never was really a Hogan fan, but yeah, I can believe it.
Yeah, I think the thing that shocks me the most because it's like, we tend to think, and as I brought up, you think of the NWA, and it's like Hogan was there for like so little time that you really don't associate him with it.
Right.
Yeah, not many people know that Hogan did wrestle in the NWA.
Yeah, because like I was more associated with him in like down in Florida, like in Tampa and Pensacola area, and then I knew he had his little brief spell in Memphis where he actually took on Lawler at that point in time, and even back then Jimmy Hart was managing Hogan at that point in time.
Yeah, Hogan was new to the business at that particular time. He wasn't real smart on Jimmy Hart. He found out quick that Hart's not one to be trusted.
Mm-hmm. And last but not least, let me throw in to my man, Mr. Brandon Doolin. Brandon, what's good, man?
As far as many of those people that did not know that Hogan wrestled in NWA, I was one of them. I was one of those people. And one thing about Hogan, I'm kind of neutral on Hogan in a sense that I won't take away any of his accomplishments. I won't take away anything that he's done. I won't take away the fact that his and Andre's match at WrestleMania 3 was possibly looked at as the wrestling match possibly of all time in a lot of people's eyes. I'm not going to take that away from it. And I also won't take away the fact that I'd always known that Hogan could actually wrestle, depending on where you looked, whether it was when he wrestled in Japan or, for that matter, in the NWA. It's the fact that whenever he got to Vince, his gimmick didn't require it, and you see it with quite a few gimmicks of today. It's the fact that the person himself can wrestle like it's nobody's business, but their gimmick doesn't require it. So that's one thing that I wouldn't necessarily put on Hogan in that regard.
Oh, well, let's talk about a man that we can associate, who we can associate the NWA Heavyweight Championship. That, of course, being the one, the only charismatic Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And in this particular incident I'm going to bring up, perhaps what many say the feud of 1989, Ric Flair, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, it came to the ultimate culmination May 7th, 1989, Nashville, Tennessee, Wrestle War 89. Ric Flair wins his 6th World Heavyweight title. But then there was a little aftermath after that, as one of the judges for that match, Terry Funk, comes in and challenges Ric Flair. Flair initially declines, but then Funk forces his hand by pile driving the newly crowned champion through the table. I got to ask about this one. I'm going to make this open mic. Ron, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about, can you talk to me about that day in Nashville?
Well, I wasn't there. I just much like everybody else, I saw it on TV. Yeah, Terry Funk did jump into Flair's face and try to get him to wrestle, and Flair refused. The pile driver put Flair out of business for a few weeks, but back in those days, we hit the gym quite a bit. Now I don't hit the gym anymore, which maybe I should, but those guys we would. That was one of the things that we had to do. We had to keep our bodies in condition, because those bumps and falls and going through the ropes and over the ropes and hitting concrete floors, that kind of stuff does take a big toll on your body, especially a pile driver. If that pile driver is applied to you right, it could really crush some vertebrae in your back, and it could paralyze you. There's no doubt about it, and that's why the AWA at the time, they outlawed the pile driver. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the NWA did too, for a brief period of time. But I believe that they allowed it to come back. I'm not real sure about that. But Harley.
Matter of fact, they banned it twice, actually.
Do what now?
Actually, they banned it twice, and then reinstated it So it's actually been banned more. Yeah, so it has been banned and reinstated more than once.
Well, Terry Funk, he held the World Heavyweight Championship himself, along with his brother, also Dory Funk Jr. held the NWA World title. But Terry, now I'm going to tell you about Terry. Terry's one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet, as long as you're not in that ring standing across from him. Because if you step in that ring across from Terry Funk, he is going to take you to the cleaners. And that is a promise, Pally. That guy will eat your lunch.
Trust me. Trust me. If he don't, because if he does half of the stuff that he does to himself, you can imagine how his opponents feel. Let me take this to Red real quick. Red.
Yo.
Ric Flair getting pile drove through the table just after becoming the world's champion.
No, actually, I didn't see that.
Oh, man, but those guys, I was got to admit, now, you see Terry Funk and Ric Flair throughout, like, the course of years, and it was like, could you imagine, you just got done winning the World Heavyweight title in a 25, 30-minute gruel fest against Ricky Steamboat. The last thing I'm pretty sure you want to have happen is a middle-aged and crazy man pile driving you through a table.
Right? We already know how crazy Terry Funk is.
Oh, yeah, well, like I said, Terry Funk's right there in your neck of the woods, so.
Yeah, I think he's just as crazy as Mick Foley, if not crazier.
I don't think there's anybody as crazy as Mick Foley. Trust me. I've seen these guys, Mick Foley, Terry Funk, these guys just absolutely, I could even go further back, Dirty Dickie Murdoch. Those guys didn't have any respect for their bodies at all. They used anything and everything they could to win a match. And if it meant coming off the top cage, getting thrown off the top of a cage onto the announcer's desk at a WrestleMania show to try to win his match, and then that's what would happen. Of course, I know you know I'm talking about Cactus Jack at the time when he wrestled on top of that cage. I believe it was against The Undertaker, wasn't it?
It was when it was under his Mankind character. It was a King of the Ring, 98.
King of the Ring,
matter of fact.
Yeah, 98.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but those two guys, they have no respect for their bodies, and now Cactus Jack, and Terry Funk, they're paying the price. They just like me. I spent so many years in the ring that it's hard to get up in the mornings. It just takes an extremely bad toll on your body. Your body you just can't keep dishing out punishment after punishment and expect it to keep going like those guys do. But somehow or another, Cactus Jack gets up every morning and he does his exercises and his running and all that stuff just like he did back in the day. And as far as Terry Funk, I haven't talked to Terry Funk in several years, so I don't know what he's doing. I know he has a ranch down in Amarillo, Texas, and if he's running his ranch, he's staying busy.
Oh, yeah, the old double cross.
Yeah, the old double cross, absolutely.
All right. Go ahead to speed this up here. Let me go to Doug. Doug, your thoughts on the Flair getting pile drove after his title victory?
Well, first, that title match was great to watch. One of the many great matches that him and Steamboat had. As far as for the power driver by Terry Funk, I probably shocked a lot of people because I'm sure a lot of people didn't see a lot of people going through a table back then. And to me, it was just like, man, Terry Funk's going to be coming after that belt. He's finally lost his mind again.
And
he never
yeah, that may be true. And Dylan, let me get your thoughts on this because we got to speed up a little bit here, guys.
Unfortunately, back then, I wasn't even born then. But even when I was born in '92, I I hadn't gotten into wrestling until like 2005 or so, but that is a match I'm going to have to see. And now that I think about it, Terry Funk pile driving somebody like that, at that time, it probably shocked a lot of people, but if you look at him throughout his career, it probably really shouldn't shock anybody. When he is middle-aged and crazy, he's middle-aged and crazy no matter what era, no matter what decade, no matter who his opponent is. Especially someone like Flair, that some people could make the case that his style of wrestling was kind of the polar opposite of Funk's in a sense.
All right. Plus, well, there was a lot of shocks, but perhaps no shock was bigger than Memorial Day of 1996. We were just sitting here watching an episode of WCW Monday Nitro when all of a sudden this guy in a denim blue vest with matching jeans just saunters his way through the crowd, hops over the rail, interrupts the match midway through, grabs the microphone, and does his patented, "Hey, yo." And the weird thing, and then we all know who it was. It was Scott Hall, a.k.a. the former Razor Ramon, coming off fresh. And I was like, what were you... All right, I'm going to make this open. What were your thoughts on Scott Hall making his WCW debut on Nitro? This one's open.
Holy shit was my response.
Well, just because he wasn't called Razor Ramon doesn't mean he was still the bad guy.
Scott actually started in the Memphis area too, like a long time ago. He was known as just plain old Scott Hall. He wasn't near as big as he was when he got into WCW, but yeah, Scott's got in the early part of his career, he worked at Jarrett Promotions here in Memphis. Yeah, so I knew some of Scott, but Scott had at the time had a bunch of personal problems he was going through too, and then trying to get back into the ring and work his way into WCW. Sometimes you have to do what you got to do to get noticed, and that's what he felt like he had to do, and that's what he did. He come out of the crowd, got into the ring, stopped the match, grabbed the microphone, and there it went. That's where it started.
Yeah, and I gotta admit, for me, like this was like unheard of, because I thought of, wow, just at not even a year earlier, you had Lex Luger defect from the WWF, and then he shows up on the very first Nitro, and then all of a sudden you had Scott Hall coming in, and then I was like, wow, you want to talk, I know we talk about the Monday Night Wars, but I was like, man, you want to really stick it to somebody? I was like, you just had two of the biggest stars in WWF, like in less than a year, show up on the competition live and unannounced.
That was all due to Eric Bischoff. Mm-hmm. Eric Bischoff was the man that almost put Vince McMahon out of business.
Hey, trust me, he hasn't let us forget about it for 80-some-odd weeks.
Yeah, he almost, Eric Bischoff did, he got with Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart is the one that was instrumental in starting all the pyrotechnics in WCW and NWA. All that stuff was Jimmy Hart's ideas. Then Eric Bischoff took over, and the NWO that Hogan and Nash and the rest of the guys were in, that was one of Eric Bischoff's deals, and it took off and did pretty good. But to see Scott Hall come out of the audience, just coming from the WWF, and then see Lex Luger defecting. What was he up there, Mr. What was that?
Oh, the narcissist.
The narcissist, yes. See, that's the thing about the New York clique up there. If you go up there with what you have and they don't like what you have, they will pin something on you. The bad thing about working for those guys up there is not the money, and those guys go up there and they work hard for everything they got. But McMahon owns you. When you go and sign a contract with the WWF, he owns you. Basically, that's the way it is, you know. And guys like, you know, Luger and Scott Hall, if you want to be able to do what it is you do and do best, sometimes you have to leave the green pasture and go over to the other pasture that's not quite so green, but fertilize it and make it green for you. And that's just exactly what those two did.
As the saying goes, the grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah, that is true. Ron, Ron, let me ask you.
Okay.
And matter of fact, you actually segued into where I wanted to go next, actually. But have you ever had a show blackout before? Have you ever been to like another company? It's like midway through it, your show just blacked out and lost energy.
I see that a lot, and if you and I are on the same page, you know, when you put together a show, you're wanting action from the very first bell to the very last bell. You want those people that paid their hard-earned money to come in and see your show. You want them excited and pumped up. And sometimes a promoter will put guys in a mid-card, is what we call them, and they're more or less in that spot to get experience. And the more experience you get in the ring, the more chances you have of getting into what we call the top slots, which are the main event matches. That's where the pay is. Yes, I have seen it go dark several times because the guys are just inexperienced and don't know how to keep the attention of the crowd. Sometimes they read in a match, they read their opponents wrong and they make mistakes. It's all down to experience and what you can put out there in the ring to give your fans. And if you can't get yourself over in that ring with your crowd and make them like you, you really have no business lacing up a pair of boots. Is that simple? And the more people that you're able to draw in to that arena, wherever it is, whatever show it is, the more money you are going to be able to make.
Yeah, well, where I was getting ready to go through, since you brought up Vince owning everything, apparently there's one thing Vince couldn't own: Mother Nature. Because May 1996, In Your House, Beware of Dog, midway through the match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Savio Vega, power's out, because they lost the signal down there in Florence, South Carolina, because it was, I don't know, and as a matter of fact, I'm not even sure if there was a hurricane at that point in time, but I knew it was a really strong rainstorm happening down there. And, unfortunately, most of the card was wrestled in the dark. And it was like, think of the world. You think of the World Wrestling Federation, it was like, this isn't supposed to happen to the WWF. They're the big time. But even the big guys got to have their moment where it happens, right?
Oh, I see what you meant by dark match now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking
literally dark.
Okay, literally dark. No, actually, to be honest, I've never seen that part. No.
Wrestling dark matches before it officially became a term.
But see, that goes back to the venue. The venue should have some backup generators.
I believe they did have. I think they did have backup generators, but I think it was just the thing was like you could because the night after on Raw they did show that that there was lighting in there, so like lighting an infrared to pick up on it, but unfortunately the pay-per-view signal got knocked out, so They had to. We had to do a makeup pay-per-view like a couple nights later. But what they did was like anybody who ordered Sunday, they got that makeup pay-per-view for free. So
damn right
really?
we did.
Hey, you get it while you can, brother.
Yeah.
Which brings up this interesting point. That's why before it was announced, Vince McMahon made sure the New Orleans Saints Stadium would not do that same shit again like it did at the Super Bowl.
Yep. WrestleMania 30,
I was waiting to see if somebody was going to mention that.
What do I get for mentioning it? A cookie?
Yeah, something.
If you come to the dark side.
Yeah, I'll try to see if I can tell Vince to like hug you up for WrestleMania. No, I'm just kidding. I wish I had that type of power, but I don't. Let's go into another one. Of course, one of my all-time personal favorites, the late great Kurt Hennig. Matter of fact, now this one's going to come with the asterisk because, as we all know, back in the day, when you used to have shows like Superstars and Challenge and all those other ones, the weekend shows were always pre-taped. So, yeah, that happened. But the airing of when this event happened was in May of 1990. That, of course, being Mr. Perfect defeating Tito Santana to become the new Intercontinental Champion. Of course, there was a little interference from the Weasel, but yeah. Let me go to Red on this one to start off. Red, talk to me, Mr. Perfect becoming the Intercontinental Champion.
Mr. Perfect becoming Intercontinental Champion. Oh, well, I mean, hey, he's Mr. Perfect. I mean, what did you expect?
Oh yeah, that is true. Because if you didn't think it was perfect, don't worry, he'll tell you himself.
Exactly.
Dolan, your thoughts on Mr. Perfect defeating Tito Santana for the Intercontinental title?
When you look at what the dude brought to the ring, when you look at everything that he brought to the wrestling ring, it was inevitable. It was only a matter of time. Basically, he was destined to become a champion. He was destined, if nothing else, to become Intercontinental Champion. Him simply winning the title off of Santana was merely a formality in a sense, depending on who you ask. And no disrespect to Santana at all. No disrespect to him at all.
And Doug, your thoughts on Mr. P and the Intercontinental title?
Well, I loved it because, I mean, I love heels. And when, Mr. Bobby the Brain Heenan, he's not a weasel. He doesn't have a tail. Came out and helped to his Perfect. But many people forget that Mr. Perfect did have, well, both of them had one advantage. Neither one had to do a semifinals match. So both of them were going to be good. I mean, and people forget as well, Mr. Perfect had to get by Jimmy Snuka to even advance to the next round.
Boy, quite the feather in your cap, huh?
Oh, yeah, I like to put feathers in my caps all the time.
Oh, hey, Santana didn't exactly have a cakewalk either. He had to get by Akeem.
Oh, yeah, Akeem. Oh, yeah. Let's not call him Akeem. Let's call him the one-man gang. At least that name is more suitable.
Yeah, or at least, because trust me, we'd rather forget the Akeem days.
Wouldn't we all?
Sorry, go ahead, Doug.
I'm done.
All right. Ron, are you still on?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah. Your thoughts on Mr. Perfect defeating Tito Santana for the Intercontinental title?
Gosh. That's something that I haven't thought about. You've got to look at both stars, both wrestlers. Tito Santana, wow. He was extremely good. He was a good wrestler. He may not have shown it in the ring, but he was an extremely good technical wrestler. But on the other hand, Kurt Hennig was too. Now, Bobby Heenan, you could say what you want to about him, but he is a weasel. I could tell you another story about him, Jerry Lawler and Nick Bockwinkel. But without Heating being there, I do believe that match would have probably ended in a draw. I believe it would have went a 60-minute draw. If Kurt Hennig had start pulling out his technical experience, that would have made Tito Santana also dig down deep, because Kurt wasn't going to be beat easy. Actually, he wasn't beat at all, but, if Bobby Heenan had not been in the picture, I believe, honestly, that match would have went to a 60-minute draw.
Actually, it couldn't have, because it was actually, title was actually vacant at this point in time. So I should clarify. So it was going to be one fall to a finish. So.
Oh, it would have went to a finish. Okay, well.
Yeah.
I'm not really that much up on the WWF because, of course, I was born in Sturgis, and I didn't live up north for about 2 years.
Black Hills. That is a Sturgis,
Sturgis, South Dakota. Yeah, that's
right there in the Black Hills.
Yes, that's why I'm called the Black Hills Outlaw. But I wasn't really much into New York style of wrestling. I'm old school. I'm from the South, back with Four Horsemen and Jerry Lawler and Austin Idol and the Rock and Roll Express and the Powers of Pain. That's my era. And as far as what, and another thing, this is something else I bet that a lot of the wrestling fans out there are not quite aware of. Most everybody in the 80s and the early 90s that went to the WWF got their start at one of the smaller promotions, whether it was the AWA, Sergeant Slaughter came from the AWA, Powers of Pain come from the NWA. You had Hulk Hogan come through CWA, and then he winds up in, just Randy Savage. Remember Randy Savage? He run Memphis Wrestling for a long time.
That's right.
Those guys
down there, the Jerry Jarrett territory right there.
Yeah, Jarrett Promotions. Those guys that got it, that one of my closest friends, I'm not going to give his name, him and his partner were, at the time, the only tag team to win all 3 World Tag Team Championships, whether it was AWA, NWA, or the WWF. But he got his start, they got their start in Crockett Promotions. That's where they got their name. That's where it went big. But they made their way through the NWA and through the AWA and into the WWF. And that's all he talks about now is the WWF. It's like the other 2 organizations, which actually a stepping stone for him to get to the WWF. He don't even talk about them anymore. And it's kind of disturbing because, everybody wants to talk about the WWF, but they were stepping stones to the WWF. And nobody wants to remember that.
Ron, real quickly, actually, I'm going to segue, and actually I'm kind of glad you brought that up because that's like if I could do a quick promo because I'm actually getting ready to run out of time here. But next week, I'm actually going to do a promotion for the 20th anniversary of WCW Slamboree, and this event actually brought back guys from your era, like Nick Bockwinkel, Jim Brunzell, Superfly Snuka, Thunderbolt Patterson, and as many others. And this was actually my first chance to really get because I was about maybe 4 years in wrestling at that point in time. So for me to get to see guys like this that I always hear about but never saw, this is like something for me to really get deep into, see what made these guys great in the first place. So that was like a definite experience for me as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of talent. And the talent from the old days, from the days when I broke into the business, is nothing like, it's what you see today is not anything like it was back in the day. The guys in the WWE, like I said, I'm not taking nothing away from them. They're extremely talented, and they're hard workers, and they get in there and they give the crowd everything they want. But they never had to pay dues. And when you start out in this business, when I started out in this business, you couldn't hardly find anybody tell you where you could buy a pair of boots. I can't tell you how many times I was booked on a card, and they would say, I need you to help set up, and I'd have to help set up the ring or help set up chairs, tear down the ring, sweep the floors, whatever. And the pay wasn't that good. If I was lucky, I might make $100 a show. But that's what we had to do to pay our dues to get into this business. You look at these the WWE now, they have a full crew that goes in and sets up everything. The guys fly to their shows. They get to the show. They do their show. They fly back to where they're next to. They don't have to touch anything. And a lot of these new guys nowadays, they don't know what wrestling was about.
All right.
That's just my opinion.
And actually, you'd be dead right about that one. And actually, as I wrap up here, Ron, before I do, I just want to also plug something else that in 2 weeks' time will be our all-independent wrestling show. So I would love to have you back as a guest. I would also love to have you back as a guest, like within that time, because this way we talk about all the past wrestling, all the current wrestling that's going on. It's just like basically what we do is we have like wrestlers, promoters, and everybody just share their experiences and like how things have been in the territories. And I would love to have you as a guest within on May 29th.
May 29th? Okay. Be sure to shoot me an email a few days before to remind me. Because,
yes, sir.
I'll be glad to do it, but this old brain just don't work like it used to.
All right, I'll even shoot you a number on that. I'll even give you a call too to just make sure. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Just be sure to let me know a couple of days ahead of time, and I'll make sure it's May the 29th.
Yes, sir.
It's on a Wednesday too, isn't it?
That's right.
Okay. Cool. I'll put it on my calendar, but like I said, just give me a reminder.
You got it. All right. All right.
I'll see if I can't get a couple of the guys. Maybe Doug Gilbert or Ricky Morton or somebody to call in also.
Oh, appreciate it.
Okay, I sure will.
Right. Thank you very much. Ron Fargo, ladies and gentlemen, make sure I'll catch Right, ladies and gentlemen, let me wrap up here. Before we do, I wanted to mention a couple other events right here. Because we're running out of time. Also, I wanted to throw in the Undertaker Stephanie McMahon wedding. That also happened in the month of May. Jerry Lynn finally, after 2 years, defeated Rob Van Dam at Hardcore Heaven in 2000. AJ Styles becomes a 3-time NWA TNA champion by winning the first pay-per-view match, by becoming the first man to dethrone Jeff Jarrett on pay-per-view. At Hard Justice 2005. Also wanted to mention. Go for that again.
No, I was going to say it was also the first time in I think about 3 or so years that he had brought back the spiral tap in order to win.
That's right. And also 2004 and 2006 TNA X Cups, which ironically won by Team USA. And coincidentally enough, both matches, the final match won by Chris Sabin. And finally, the Dream Team. We never thought these two men would be a tag team, but they were. Backlash May 1st, 2005. Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan team up, the WWE Hall of Fame Dream Team, to go against Muhammad Hassan and Shawn Daivari. All right, and then I want to let that go. Thank you very much, Dawn. Thank you very much, Doug. Thank you, Veretta, for tuning in. Make sure you guys check us out. WCC Wrestling Commentary Central. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. You can catch us at WCC Live. Make sure you always call in. The number is 760-569-7676. Access 200-446#. Make sure you guys also look for us on YouTube and check out all the WCC programming. You know how it goes. Monday, uncensored, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, right after Raw. Tuesday, with myself and the rest of the WCC family. Of course, you got Tuesdays, the Overload Show with EL.CIBERNETICO, the man who's live and direct from Los Angeles, and of course, the one and only Church Pain himself, Mr. Jones, Tuesdays at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, 7:30 Pacific. Of course, I'm here every Wednesday at 10. And then directly after, in a few moments, Sex Battles is coming up with Jacob, a.k.a. DJ Gator. Don't forget, Thursday night, she got the TNA Recipe with Big Red and the rest of the WCC family at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, 7:30 Pacific, right after Impact. And then, of course, Fridays, you have Heather, you have Rob, you have Elle. They do the WCC main event at 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central, 7:30 Pacific, 30 minutes after SmackDown. That, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude our show for this evening. Don't forget, next week, it's Slamboree anniversary. 20 years ago, WCW brought this event to bring the past and the present, and I will be mentioning some of the highlights of that show. And do not forget, in 2 weeks' time, it's WCC All Indie Show. No WWE, no TNA talk. It's your show. Fans, wrestlers, promoters, it doesn't matter. If you're a wrestling fan, be a part of it. Make sure you're a part of this. It's WCC Ring Rockers, the show where the ring rock music and talk and wrestling talk never stop. I am Rockin' Reese. Keep on slamming. Thanks for tuning in. Sex Battles is coming up, and I will see you next week. Good night, everybody.